Hi, thanks for joining me. I am Juliana, the Senior Program Director of Health and Wellness at the Southtowns Family YMCA, and I'm here for our Healthy Living topic of the week. This week we are going to talk about the FITT Principle and how we can use this in our exercise routine. So whether you are looking to start a new exercise routine or you have been doing a program for quite some time and you're ready to make a change, this conversation is going to help you make a few decisions on how you're going to approach next week's exercise program. Okay, so let's dive in. So what I have up here is FITT, which stands for frequency, intensity, time, type. So if we think about these four words, you can make adjustments to any one of them if you're looking to change your program, or if you're looking to start out, you want to make some decisions on each of these. Okay, so we're going to walk through each section and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you have to make a decision or you can make an adjustment. Okay, so frequency talks about how often we are exercising. Guidelines suggest that we want to get in at least 3 days a week, but we can also work up to our 3 days a week. So if you're starting from 0 right now, I want you to think about whether that looks like 1 day a week or 2 days a week to start before we get up to our 3 days a week. Or if you're already at your 3 days a week and you're ready to increase your exercise program, I want you to think about how you can add a day, okay? This is also talking about physical activity and exercise. So I'm going to try not to get too much into this conversation because there is a difference, okay? So our physical activity is thinking more along the lines of our daily habits that are getting our heart rate moving. So gardening, bowling, a bike ride, a more leisurely bike ride, things where you are moving around, but your heart rate is higher than when you're sitting in a chair. Exercise is thinking about our structured activity, so a set 30 minutes of a walk or our strength training. A class, okay? So physical activity and exercise together help with our frequency section, okay? Intensity, how hard we are exercising. So we want to increase our heart rate, or we can use our rate of perceived exertion. What that means is our 1 to 10 scale. So if you've taken a class with me in particular, or many of our instructors here at the Y, we typically say, how are you feeling? Is this easy? Is this medium? Is this hard? Scale of 1 to 10, we're looking to be about a 7 or an 8. 10 is your absolute max. So instead of worrying about your heart rate, your actual heart rate, you can use your perceived exertion also. So we want to make sure that when we're doing our exercise or physical activity, that we can sense we have an increased heart rate or an increased rate of perceived exertion. Our first T is time. How long are you exercising? So guidelines suggest we want to get a minimum of 150 minutes of physical activity and or exercise each week. How you get there is up to you. So if you are just starting out, I want you to think about 10-minute increments, maybe 3 times a day, or 20-minute increments, or if you want to get your full 30. If you're more advanced, you've been exercising for a while, you're probably going to be a higher number in minutes than the 10, 20, or 30. But we want to get to a minimum of 150 minutes. So again, just starting out, just like our days, if you're at 0, don't feel like you have to jump right to 3. If you're starting from 0, don't feel like you have to jump right to a 30-minute exercise or getting your 150 minutes within the first 2 days of the week. So you want to go nice and slow, ease into it. How you get here doesn't necessarily matter to begin with. We just want to get here. Okay. Type of exercise. We want to make sure you're getting a nice variety. So whether that's cardiovascular exercise, strength training, flexibility, your mind body. So that's like a yoga or a Pilates, Tai Chi, or some of our dance formats like a bar class, a Zumba class, cardio dance, things like that. So there are a lot of options and you want to try to get a variety. Exercise is tricky. You want to think about consistency. Our body can adapt to consistent movements and consistent weights and keeping a nice routine. But we also need some variety so that we don't get too overwhelmed with one type of exercise, or we want to keep our body guessing. We want to make sure that we're not overloading certain joints, things like that. So finding a nice balance between consistency and variety. It's a little tricky, but we can do it, okay? So now that we know what each thing is, we want to talk about changing up one of these if we're already exercising. So if you're just trying to make a plan to start exercising, I want you to start to think about how you're going to make decisions on each one of these four, okay? And then just pause for a moment on this conversation. If you are already exercising and it's time to make an adjustment, you can make an adjustment to one of these four or all of these, okay? So if you are fine with your intensity, how long you're exercising, and your type, but you just want to add a day, then we can just make a change here, okay? If you're already getting maybe 5 or 6 days, but you're doing a low intensity exercise, you can add a higher intensity to make an adjustment there. So whether that's increasing weights, you're increasing the pace that you're walking. You might go from a walk to a run. If you're cycling, you might add resistance. So intensity, how hard you're working, can be your adjustment. If you're already hitting your days of the week, your intensity, and you like what you're doing, how long? So if you're reaching this 150 minutes, but you're ready to push a little bit longer and you want to add your time. Or if you're just doing about 20-minute increments at a time and you can jump to the 30, then time is what you want to change. And the last time type, you really want to think about this hard because you don't want to make a change without pre-thinking about it, okay? Really where I'm going with this is I don't want you to pick something that you don't really like. So exercise, it's very important that you find things that you like to do because you will very quickly talk yourself out of doing them if you don't really like to do it. So if you don't enjoy or your body cannot handle running, I don't want you to think that you have to run, okay? If you are strength training and you're doing everything that you like to be doing and you don't really want to go into a different form of strength training, you don't have to. So thinking about your type of exercise is a little more personal, and you want to make sure that you're picking the right exercise modality, but also being willing to try something new. Okay, you might not really know that you enjoy yoga if you don't really try it. So if type is what we want to change and it's time to try something new, then that's what you want to adjust, okay? So recap here, the FITT principle, frequency, intensity, time, type. How often are we exercising? How hard are we exercising? How long are we exercising? And what type of exercise are we doing? Also, exercise can be switched out for physical activity, our everyday physical activities. There's really no other word for that. Or our structured exercise routine, okay? So changing one or a couple or all of these is really going to be what we want to think about if we are starting our exercise program or if we need to make an adjustment to see more results, okay? So I hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment under the video or on the YMCA Buffalo Niagara Facebook page, and I'll be happy to get back to them. If there's anything that you need me to go over again, I will do that. Or if you need some examples of each name, I will go over that as well. Okay? I hope to see you again next week for our new healthy living topic of the week. Have a great weekend. Bye.